On this video, I will show you how to add properties to the VRBO feed. And please know that this process of adding the properties to the VRBO feed applies either if you want to create the properties as brand new listings over the channel, or if you already have listings on the channel and you want to connect to those existing listings. So in both the scenarios, the process is the same because what we do is to add the properties to the VRBO feed, and then the VRBO team will activate the properties on their end. So in order to add the properties to the VRBO feed, the first step will be to access your self-onboarding tool or the wizard. Click on VRBO, and first of all, you have to say if you already have an account on VRBO or no. In this case, I'm going to say no because I want you to see the steps on how to create a VRBO account. Then you have to select one of the channel predefined cancellation policies. Once you select this, you can click on Start Connection Process. Like I previously mentioned, in this step 1, you have all the instructions that you would need to follow in order to create your VRBO account. Once you create your VRBO account, you can go to the next step. In this step, we have this form, which is very important because once you complete this form, you will get a VRBO representative assigned. Please note that you will receive an email from your VRBO representative 48 to 72 hours after you complete this form. And please note that also that these are 48 to 72 business hours. It's very important your VRBO representative because, as I previously mentioned, what we are going to do is to add the properties to the VRBO feed. But then your VRBO representative will be the person that will actually help you during the process of activating the properties on the channel. So once you complete this form, you can go to the next step. Before we go to the next step, I would like to let you know that your VRBO representative will ask for the advertiser ID during the activation process. This advertiser ID is your channel connector PMID or your BookingPal PMID. Please keep this in mind because your VRBO representative will ask for it during the activation process. So, once you complete the form, you can go to the next step. The step 3 gather actually does not apply for VRBO, so we can just skip it. The step 4 is a validation. So in this step, you can check if your property meets all the minimum channel requirements. In order to validate the property, you just have to select it and click on Validate. And after a couple of minutes or even seconds, 2 things will happen. Either you will see a check mark, which means that the property meets all the minimum channel requirements, or you will receive an error message in here saying what the property is missing. In this case, we see that these properties, they have the check mark, so they meet the channel requirements. Once you complete the validation, you can go to the next step. And I will also like to let you know that this step is not really a requirement for step 5. This means that you can go to step 5 without doing step 4, but I strongly suggest to do step 4 because that way you ensure that you won't receive error messages during step 5. or at least the possibility of receiving an error message in step 5 will decrease. Once you complete the validation, you can go to the next step. In this step, this is the step where we are going to actually add the properties to the HomeAway feed. In order to do so, you just have to click on the property and click on Create New Listing. Now, you will see that the in progress status appeared. Please give it a couple of minutes. This should take between 5 to 10 minutes. Please note that even though it says create new listing, what we are really doing is just adding the property to the VRBO feed. So again, this process applies either if you want to create it as a new listing or if the listing already exists on the VRBO end. Okay. For the property that we just added to the VRBO feed, actually it disappeared. We previously had 7 properties. Now we have 6 because it disappeared from this step because we already added it to the VRBO feed. So this is a good sign. So if the property disappears from here, it means that it is already added to the VRBO feed. And now the property will appear in step 6. So we can go and click on next. Okay. Let's give it a couple of minutes for the page to refresh. And now you will see the property in here. Right now I'm going to find the property. And this is the property that I previously added to the feed in step 5. So right now the property is already added to the feed. And now the last step is to enable it for the VRBO team to actually activate it. To do so, you just have to click on the toggle which says request to open. Please note that the terminology here, it says that this is a request to open, but this is really a request to enable. This is really a request to enable the property on the VRBO feed. Once this is completed, so once the property is enabled on the VRBO feed, you will see the property like this. Actually, right now it just happened. So now the toggle is bright blue, and you will see in here that the next possible action is to close it. Why? Right now, the property is already enabled. So right now, the property is already added to the VRBO feed, and it's already enabled for the VRBO team to activate it. So now, the next step would be for you to email your VRBO representative and let him or her know that the properties are already added to the VRBO feed. Then they will actually perform the activation on their end, and they will confirm to you once the property is activated and open on their end. So in summary, you cannot actually open the property by using the self-onboarding tool or wizard because it's the VRBO team who needs to do it. So through the wizard, what we do is to add and enable the property in the VRBO feed. However, if you ever need to close a property, so once the VRBO team opens a property and then you want to close it temporarily or permanently, you can come in here and you can click on this toggle. What this will do is that it will stop the feed of the calendars and the property won't be available for booking on the channel. And well, this is how the VRBO onboarding process works. Once you get to this step, you can just click on finish and that's it. Thank you very much.